by end of the season, if you're like fifth, I'm gonna kill myself. Like
It's gotten to
I
that
don't
point.
like I don't think it's gonna happen. It's gonna go to that point, but if it does, oh my god! Like
I think the
literally the
podcast
club.
has gotten extremely violent now, and it's partially my fault.
So to sum up, Joe's gonna kill Fonseca, Samir's gonna kill himself. It's going well.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Short Corner Podcast. This is episode number 3, and we're going to be reviewing a very disappointing loss in the Derby della Madonnina to Inter, 3-0 defeat. Very upsetting. Here to go through it with me is Samir.
Hello.
Naim.
AC Milan, guys.
Rid.
Hello, everyone.
And then Joe, who's going to introduce our special guests.
Hey guys, so today we have Justin from Queens, New York, on our podcast. It's great to have him. He's a great guy. I think we all know him from Twitter, and I'm sure lots of you also know him from Twitter as well. So yeah, it's great to have him on the podcast. Yeah,
I just wanted to say thank you to Matt, Naim, Ridnir, Joe, and Samir for having me. I'm happy to be here. I've known a lot of these guys for a while, so should be fun.
Yeah, happy to have you.
Yep.
Well, let's get cracking. So obviously, we lost 3-0. Very bad performance. I think 2 goals from Lautaro and 1 from Lukaku. Very disappointing. I think there's not a lot of positives to pick up on from the match. But yeah, what's everyone's thoughts? We'll start with our guest, Justin. So what's your thoughts on the game?
I mean, honestly, I think we all kind of predicted this going in. It wasn't really going to be too fun, given our recent form and Inter's recent form, and obviously them being the stronger team at the moment. I mean, if you told me before the season we'd be in second place, above on 6 points on, I think Roma's in third, right? I think it's third place Roma. So if you told me that going into the season, I would be ecstatic. So where we are right now, I mean, you can't really complain, but obviously you have to aim for higher. And yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that I think we're overachieving. We have overachieved,
100%.
definitely. So obviously, losing 3-0 to the Derby and letting Inter, get, I think, 4-point cushion, obviously it's going to hurt because it's Inter. And once you're at top, you obviously just want to stay at the top, even if you're not expecting it. But besides that, I mean, really bad game. I think no one, I think only, I would say 3 players performed all right, that being Tonali, Theo, and maybe Zlatan up top. I think those were the only 3 players who did all right. But yeah, it was quite disappointing. What did you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, it's also a really disappointing result, but I actually think the performance itself was a lot better than we've seen in previous games. Almost, like, it was definitely better than Spezia last week, and I definitely thought it was a better performance than the Atalanta game, where it was the same result and we couldn't get kicking. But today, I think it was just a story of, we did show up, but they were just more clinical than us, and they took their chances. And there was a really important spell, I think, at the start of the second half, where we were on top and we were creating loads of chances. And I think as soon as that shot, I think it was from like Tonali, where it was going straight to the top corner, but Handanovic saved it. I think I knew from there it wasn't going to be our day, and they scored like a couple of minutes later, and I think that was it, really. Yeah. And Naim, do you want to share your thoughts on the game?
I thought it was down to the individual brilliance of Handanovic. Like you said, started second half. He made, I think it was 3 saves in a sequence of under 2 minutes. So Tonali, Ibra. I thought those were all equalizing chances that we could have equalized, and it's a different story if we equalize. But Handanovic, individual brilliance there. I was so mad. I mean, those are top-class saves. I think the shots were going like bottom corner, top corner. Tonali's one hitting roof of the net if he's not saving that. He also had one against Rebic, so I thought Handanovic was your man of the match. You might say Lukaku, but I thought it was Handanovic.
Yeah, he saved them so many times. Matt?
Yeah,
Matt, you're muted.
I just realised. Just really poor performance. I think first half, it was similar to the Spezia game where we just didn't get going at all the first half, and then concede the first goal, and I think that's a big thing for Milan. If we concede the first goal like against a good team like Juve or Inter or Atalanta, it's always going to be difficult for us. And conceded that first goal, and then did well to like kind of weather the storm and get through to half time only at 1-0, because I think 2-0 at half time it's even more dead and buried than it eventually was. And then I think the only difference was that they took their chances when they were on top in the first half. They scored their goal, and then when we were on top in the second half, unfortunately we just didn't take our chances. And then they, as we've said, they were just overall more clinical to us, and I think that's kind of representative of like where we are in our pathways. Like at the moment, I think if you ask many Inter fans, it's kind of like do or die for them. It's like this, we've invested all this money in this, we've got Conte, this is going to be our big chance to overtake Juve and win a Scudetto. And I think we're just like that one step behind. And I think, that was definitely shown by today's overall result and performance. Samir, do you want to
add? To begin with, we played much better than Spezia's game. My question was, why do we start so slow? The first half was so fucking bad. Like, why didn't we start the match like the way we did second half? The first 15 minutes of the second half, we kept on fucking going at them. Like, we were so fucking dead, and we had a very shit first half. But we did play better than Spezia. I think it's our we played better than Spezia or Red Star, but it was Inter, so it's not enough. Also, I think our goal is top 4, was always top 4, so I'm not really bothered. If we can win against a smaller team, it should be fine. Also, Samir was very good today. I don't know where was he the last few months, and suddenly out of nowhere, he's like fucking Manuel Neuer or something. He saved, like, as Naim said, 3 shots within 2 minutes. So it was a shit game. Also, we had our chances, like the Ibra in the first half when Ibra almost scored the back heel goal he tried, that one, and the second half the header. Overall, it was a better game than last 3 matches, but not enough, sadly.
Justin, we just wanted to ask you, why do you support Milan? What got you into Milan to begin with? We want to know.
So, growing up in New York City, obviously football is not the first sport that you grow up with, so it was a bit difficult. But I think really the first game that I watched was the game against Barca. I believe it was 2012 in the Champions League with Pato, Robinho, everybody. And ever since then, I've been addicted and I haven't stopped.
That's brilliant.
We asked Wally last podcast, so I will just ask you, so your top 3 favorite Milan players of all time.
Oh,
you have to pick 3.
All right, so I think number 1, and I know Joe's gonna be happy about this one, I'm gonna say Gattuso, just because. Secondly, I have to go Balotelli, just because that was my Milan. Even though it's the banter, like that's what I really grew up with. So I would say Balotelli second. And then third, I'd go Kaká, just because of his second stint when he came back on loan and just for what he did for Milan in general.
Yeah. This is a bit of a more general question, is again for Justin mainly. What do you think we should do to not fix Milan? Because obviously we're not as bad as we were, past few seasons. But if you were in charge of Milan, what would your next moves be?
My next move would definitely just be to get top 4 this season. We can't make any rash decisions on sacking Pioli. I've seen it on Twitter today. Get rid of him. Can't do that yet, just because, if you look at where we're at, we're completely overachieving for the squad that we have. And if you asked me going into the season, I would have picked Inter as the favorites, just because, I think it was you who said that they're do or die. They've spent over 200 million. Conte's on 12 mil a year. So, looking at where we are right now, we're definitely behind them in the project, just because they've qualified for UCL the past couple seasons. Granted, they haven't made it far, but we haven't even gotten any of that money. So I think when you go by that, I think top 4 right now is crucial, just to get that CL money, You get players that might want to come into a team that's obviously it's Milan. You come into a team with great history and just playing Champions League football. I think it's crucial right now.
I mean, on paper, Inter have us beat in most positions, don't you guys think?
Yeah,
easily. On paper, they're a better team.
Easily.
Yeah, I think also that if you look at where we were, I mean, it's easy to say this, but like, you know, where we were about a year ago, where we were just, you know, after that 5-0 defeat to Atalanta, and the fact that we've gone from that to being even in the mention for the title race, I think shows a lot of ambition from the management and also a huge step up from every player in the team. But at the same time, you know, we've raised the bar to this level, and now it's gone to the point where we need to raise it again. And so far in 2021, it's not even matching what we were in 2020. So it's a bit of a disappointment, but you know, it's not over yet. I think, you know, there's only 2 games that it would need for Inter to drop points and for us to go back up and top. So it's far from over yet. And we just need to put it in the past and, you know, look at the positives and the way we started that second half and be it that this is the way we need to play from minute 1 and do that from, you know, minute 1 against Roma. I want to see them, I want to see a score and take the game to them. So
I think to add on that, Joe, I think Inter are playing Juve. They have the Roma game. I think they're playing Napoli too. There's quite some big games that's coming up for Inter. And they're playing Juve and Roma like the final 3 weeks of the season. So I think we have a good chance still. You know, they could lose to Juve, they could lose to Atalanta, because they have some big games coming up themselves.
Yeah, I think that's something to consider. Like, it's obviously like painful today to see us get absolutely smashed, but there is like still like about 15 games left. It's like far from over. There's nothing to say like we can't win the league. It's obviously a big blow, but as Samir said as well, like title would be the dream, but to even like for top 4, that this isn't like that big of a blow for top 4. And I agree with Samir in the sense that if we just do our bits against the lower teams, the likes of Benevento and Genoa and stuff like that, that'll get us to our goal, because our goal was top 4, and anything else on top of that's a bonus. So I think the idea of Pioli out and all that nonsense, I think that's very reactionary, very like hot-blooded, very emotional, which is understandable. But I think you've got to take a pinch of salt and look at the wider picture of things and just kind of look at ourselves and say, look where we were this time last year. Let's just calm it down a bit.
I just want to bring up a point about the derby again, and again with Pioli. What do you guys think of the subs? Because Tonali, I think he was one of the first subs, and I think he was having probably one of the best games since he came. So personally,
I thought they were wrong.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would have kept Tonali and just, you know, taking off Ibrahimovic, who is pretty much at that point was our only, you know, real threat, and putting on Castillejo, who, no offense, but he gives nothing. And, you know, not having a proper striker when you know 3-0 down, it just feels like Pioli was like, there's the white flag, we're done, you know.
Funny story. I turned off my TV when Castillejo took that shot. He skied it. Top left, he skied it. I turned my TV off. Enough.
What do you think, Justin, of the subs?
Well, personally, I mean, I think we all could have wrote the subs out before the game even started, other than the Ibra sub. Because if you look at the past, I mean, Pioli in-game management has, in my opinion, not been the best when it comes to subbing out players. But I have to give him credit for the Ibrahimovic sub, because at that point, I mean, that was him literally, like you said, just waving the red flag, accepting defeat, and just preserving Ibra for Roma and Red Star and later this week. So on that point, I can't even fault him for that, just because, I mean, realistically, we weren't going to score 3 goals. At the end of the day, we just weren't on par with how they were playing.
Why do you guys think we didn't see Hauge again? Because I think against Spezia came on for the last 10 minutes, and today just wasn't even subbed on. Because I think Pioli did say he would be used more in the league, but ever since he was left out the Europa League list, he just hasn't really played at all. And, you know, I think, you know, when you're losing 3-0, you might as well put someone like Hauge on? Like, what's the worst that can happen? You're losing already. You might as well put him on.
I thought Rebic was really bad, and I thought he should have been subbed off for Hauge. That's what I was thinking when 60, 65 minutes in, but Hauge never came on, and Rebic was kept on. I think Justin was saying that Rebic was really bad. I agree with them. I thought Rebic was horrible for us, too.
Rebic is a weird player, in my opinion. He either wakes up world class or either wakes up playing Sunday League football. Like, he's just so weird. And today, I would have taken him off at halftime, honestly. But I was a bit surprised when there were no subs at halftime. I was thinking Leao coming on halftime would have given us the boost that we needed. But I also understand we were doing really well towards the end of the first half, so maybe he didn't really want to change too much. But I think it's an ongoing theme, as Justin said. Pioli subs during the match aren't the best, and sometimes a bit questionable as well. Because for me, taking off Tonali, putting on Mate is a big downgrade, especially when you're losing.
Yeah, I think I can empathise slightly with Pioli though, because when Vidal came on for Barella, that was I think it's for Barella, but that was something that was really symbolic for me, because you saw that obviously Benacer's not fit, but Tonali got took off, and we had a quite significant, like, it's definitely a downgrade to Metier. But like you see Inter, and they've got this like thing where he can rely on all of his players. And I know that we've done well with our injuries this year, considering, but I just feel still there's like, we bring off certain players, and it's like, okay, that's definitely going to hamper our progress in this match. And yeah, if we can, the quicker we can get out of that situation where we've got passengers, we can't have passengers like Castillejo, we can't have people who aren't turning up every week. We can't, like, once we get to a point where we can rely on everyone 100% every week, that's when we're really going to start like pushing for trophies. Because at the moment, yeah, we're just kind of like dabbling in a title race, and then we just kind of get laughed away by the people who have got this serious squad where everyone can be trusted and relied on.
Samir, what's your thoughts on the subs?
When Pioli bought on Miti for Tonali, I thought, okay, he gave up the game. Because Miti is defensive, he's not going to create chances. Honestly, he's not going to do anything. But then as soon as he got Miti on, I thought, okay, that's it. The game is done, He's just going to play defensive. So it just stays 3-0. And as in for Hauge, I have no clue what's going on with him. I thought Rebic should have been like subbed on halftime, because he does nothing. I feel like every time he scores, it's by mistake. Every time he gives an assist, it's a mistake. I don't know. He's such a, I don't know, man. Like, everything he does, I don't know how, but then, I feel like...
Yeah, he's really clumsy, but somehow he makes things happen.
Exactly. Like, every time he has assist Ibra, I'm like, okay, that was a mistake. Has to be. Like I don't know, man. I feel like when he doesn't know what he does. But at least he's better than Samu. He's just totally useless. And I think Hauge should get more chances, in the upcoming matches, because Rebic is not doing anything, honestly. I think I'll prefer Hauge and Leao on the right side instead of Salemakers and Samu.
I think Joe was saying Romagnoli and Salamakers had to step up today, and they did the opposite of that. They weren't there, non-existent.
Yeah, I think it was just one of these things. Before the game, I kind of had this in my head that it was becoming increasingly clear that Romagnoli's place in the starting lineup is probably getting to a point where it's not really justified anymore. And I think this was the game where he needed to prove us all wrong. And now I think we're looking at this game where he was completely outpaced by Lukaku, and it was like two of the goals were pretty much entirely his fault. He just didn't step up, and I think he was such a great servant to the club during the Banter era, but now that he's not just a slightly above average player in a slightly below average team, he's now a slightly above average team in where he's got properly good players in and around him. So something needs to change, and I think maybe it's time for even if it's not a permanent thing. I think Pioli just needs to get the message across that he's not irreplaceable. He's not unbenchable. Even though he's got the armband, when you're at AC Milan, you're at one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you can't just you can't. Mediocrity isn't acceptable ever, really.
Yeah, he looks scared by Lukaku as well. I feel like every time Lukaku got the ball, Romagnoli would just shit himself.
Terrified.
Yeah. I mean, I think one criticism I have for Pioli, when you're playing against two quick strikers such as Lukaku and Lautaro, and you also have Hakimi, who's really quick. You have Tomori on the bench, who's probably one of the fastest players you have. Why is he not playing? He's the perfect fit, to play against a team such as Inter, who's so reliant on the pace of the player. So why isn't Tomori playing? And Romagnoli having the cup, the armband. First of all, I don't think he's captain material anymore, if you could say. He doesn't show. I don't think he shows any real personality during the games. I feel like whenever there's any clash with anyone, it's always Gigio, Kier, or Ibrahim just stepping up, and he's just there. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Alessio, Justin?
I mean, from 2015 to 2018, he, in my opinion, he was one of the best defenders in the league.
Definitely.
Now, like Joe said, he was in a worse team then, and he was one of our best players alongside probably Donnarumma. And now we're in a better team, you would say, looking at the standings, and he's gotten progressively worse. I think it's been at least a season and a half that he's been declining now. And I mean, defenders usually get better with age. So I don't think we should give up on him yet, but it's coming to the point, like you said, that we're going to have to start asking questions.
Should we cash in the summer then? Matt, try to go?
That's such a tough question. I don't know. I don't know. It depends what the figure is, because he was bought in for what, around like 25?
Yeah, 25,
million?
something like that.
25,
yeah. It was a fair amount. So.
No, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. It's such a tough question because it depends, A, who we're bringing in, and B, is Tomori being redeemed? A lot of things go along with that. So right now, I would say I would lean more towards no.
Matt?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of make a comment. Man City have just won against Arsenal, and that's 18 games unbeaten, and a lot of that's been down to John Stones. And what I was thinking is, John Stones is his when he's been playing with worse centre backs, he's done worse. But when Ruben Dias has come in, we've really begun to see him. We really begin to see like him get better, and I just feel like with Romagnoli, almost the opposite's happened. Kier's come in, and he's finally got his centre back partner. He's got his Ruben Dias. He's got his person who should be making him look better. And unfortunately, and I think this is a good piece of evidence to perhaps why he's not up to the standard we're looking for now. We're in this top four title race sort of position. His flaws are being shown. Like we brought a better defender in to accompany him, and it's not brought his game to the next level. It's almost exposed his weaknesses, and I think that's quite worrying. And got a question here from Aditya Pranbora, who asks whether Romagnoli should be benched, because if we're aspiring for league and Europa League glory and trying to push on to that next level, shall we bench him? We've kind of touched on it, but if we all try and give an answer on what we think. Samir, do we think we should bench him?
The way he's playing, if he keeps on continuing, I think we should bench him. Like, my thing is, I think he's great, but since Poli came on, we've been playing with a high line defense. I think the high line does not suit him at all. Like with Gattuso, when we played with low back line, he was one of the best in the league. He was getting shouts with Van Dijk, with the stats and everything. Since Poli came on, since we started playing attacking, we can see his weaknesses. I still think he's a good defender. He's a great defender, but he might not work for us if Poli stays, because we play attacking and it just does not suit him at all. Like, he would be perfect for Atletico Madrid. If he goes there, he'd be back to his old self. He would be perfect as well for Lazio or T at the back. But for right now, the way we play, he won't suit us. I don't think. Tomori is the way, sadly.
I want to talk about Tomori's performance in the Coppa. So do you guys see the tackles he was making on Lukaku? He read Lukaku's play before Lukaku made that run to the area, and he was there in a snap. He's so quick. He read Lukaku in that game. I thought he did really, really good. So my question was why Tomori wasn't started today, because he knows Lukaku from Premier League office. He studies his movement, and he's very quick. Like Rid said, he's probably top 2 quickest players in our team. And both times, Romagnoli got burned for pace. And I still think that both times Tomori would have used his pace to catch up. He's very aggressive in the tackle, and I think he would have slowed down Lukaku. Whereas Romagnoli, he was really scared to tackle Lukaku. He was backing away. The second Lukaku goal, Romagnoli didn't even tackle. He was ball watching. Just let Lukaku run past him. I think it's a mentality thing because we've seen in past derbies where Lukaku dominated Romagnoli every time. I think in his head, he's like, I can't stop him. Whereas Kyer did really, like, not really good, but he was doing his best to stop Lukaku. Like, he wasn't getting burned like Romagnoli was. And for the second Lukaku goal, Romagnoli was pushed to his weaker foot. So Lukaku knew that where he's a left-footed center back. So Romagnoli was defending on his right, and he just pushed the ball past him. Simple, pushes the ball forward to run past him. So basic things that Lukaku did, and it was a fantastic finish. So I think in that second case, Tomori catches up using his pace because he's quick.
Justin, I think you were going to say something on Romagnoli?
Yeah, just getting back to that, I feel like if he was to leave, he would only go to another challenger. So he would go to Lazio, Juve. I don't think he'd go to Inter, but who knows? Lazio and Juve probably are the 2 most suitable teams for him. And he would be great in a 3 at the back. And like, I don't know who said it, but one of you said that in the higher line, he struggles more, which is true because he's a slower defender. But even under Gattuso, there were some times where, I don't know, he just didn't feel like the same player that he was once when it was 2015 to 2018. He was hungry. He was a very gritty defender. He got down, he defended. But even now, I'm not sure. It's just, he doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same.
I think going back to Naim's point about the mentality, I think mentality is very important, especially if you're the captain of, AC Milan. Like if the captain, you've got, dominated by Lukaku twice, but you want to prove yourself, be like, okay, he's got 2, I can do it again. Like I can, match up with him. But if you're going to the match scared, think, okay, he's, got the best of me twice, he's going to do it again. So let me just make sure he doesn't. But then you're still scared and then still mess up. I think that's a big thing. Like you can't go, into any game thinking, okay, last year he, humiliated me, so why would I, be here? I think the mentality is lacking for some reason, which is weird because I think it's just Justin said he had that hunger like a few years ago. I'm just wondering what's happened to that, because I think he still has something in him. I still think he can be a great player, but the mentality, something's happened to it, and just be concerning.
Joe, do you think in his mind he was just scared of Lukaku?
I think the whole team was scared of Inter, to be honest, in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes. It was just, I feel like just recently we've looked like we're completely overthinking everything in the way we play. We're afraid to attack. We don't even look very comfortable defending. And, if we're going to play like, all the sitting back sort of style, then great. But I don't think that's what we're trying to do. I think we're just failing to play the way we want to play. And I think that's been a theme recently, in that we just haven't been able to control games whatsoever. But as soon as we started attacking Inter, we were on their level, I think, for a lot of that game. And I think, if Spia got a little bit more luck, if, Teo's shot in the first half that very nearly went in, if that went in, it's a completely different game. And Pioli would have been, best coach in the world again. But as for more specifically Romagnoli, I just think that as soon as I saw Tomori play in the derby, the last derby in the cup, I thought, that's it for Romagnoli. He really needs to step up because this guy looks like the real deal. It pains me to say that because I don't think, I've been one of Romagnoli's biggest fans. I think, just generally, I've sort of kept faith with him. I've even when he's been more questionable, I've sort of said, okay, he's coming back from an injury, let's give him a bit more time. But I think now he's not coming back from an injury anymore. He's the captain of this team, and the standards are now higher because we've raised the standards, and he's not cutting it at the moment. So I think we probably should try out the Kier Tomori partnership, at least in the Europa League, and in the next game, and see how that goes. And if it's working, stick with it. And then Romagnoli needs to prove to Pioli that he can step up, he can be on this level. But at the moment, that's not happening, and something needs to change, really. That's basically my fault.
So we've got another question from Twitter from Chef Kinky. Who's the next coach you want to see? And I'll say, do we want to keep Pioli, or do we want to just get a different coach? What's everyone's thoughts? And I'll probably be like, in the summer, should we change? Should we stick to Pioli? Justin?
Yeah, Justin, go ahead.
Well, I think when the season's over and we evaluate what happened with our goals, so did we make top 4? Obviously, we still don't know that. If we do get into Champions League, I personally don't think Pioli is the right man to lead us forward. I think, and it might not even be realistic, but I think we need somebody like Allegri. Even I would go as far as to say Sarri, maybe, just because you need somebody that's proven and experienced, more Allegri than Sarri, obviously. But I don't know. I think Pioli's steadied the ship. He's done okay. He's done well. But for Champions League, I don't know if he has it in it. I just don't.
Samir?
Our objective was to get top 4. And if he does get that, I think we should keep him, right? Like, if we fire him, it doesn't look good. And I feel that the squad is behind him. And if we're out of top 4, definitely fire him. But I think if he stays top 4, we should keep him. I mean, he did his job. Our objective was top 4, and if he does get it, I think we should get him. If he's fired, okay, I think I would want Allegri. He would be the best coach, honestly, right now. I like Sarri as well, but I think with Sarri, he needs time, like a year or 2, to build this team the way we want. But if I had to choose Allegri, he'd be the best option right now.
I think if we do get top 4, obviously, as Samir said, you've done your job, so why would you be fired if you get top 4? But at the same time, as Justin said, I personally don't think Pioli has it in him to, put a team in the UCL and do well, because he doesn't have the experience. He never won anything. So history-wise, he doesn't look like the suitable one to take us back to the UCL, to the glory days in the UCL. But I also think if we keep Pioli, we definitely need better players, because I think, if you keep him and get players that suit the way he plays, if you get like a good right wing and stuff like that, I would keep him, because I think the players in the end are more important than the coach. But I would say it's like 60-40%. But if you get the right players who can actually give something to the team, I don't see why we shouldn't keep him. On the other hand, if we get an opportunity to get someone like Allegri in, or even Sarri maybe, but definitely Allegri, if there's a chance to get him, I would 100% take it, because he has the experience. He's done it before. He's been in Milan before. He's taken Juventus, I think, 2 UCL finals. So he has it in him, and he's a winner. He's won pretty much everywhere he's been. So yeah, I think Allegri is the best. So, or if we keep Pioli, we need to change up the team. Naim, I think you were going to say something.
I think Pioli, personally, I don't think he's a Champions League level manager. So if the results keep coming the way they are, he's not dropping Romagnoli. I think he needs to drop it's hard to drop the captain, I understand, but he has to make some changes ASAP. But with the way it's going, if it continues, I think Allegri might be the way, maybe Sarri. But I think we should at least keep Pioli till the end of the season and then evaluate, because nothing will help if we sack a manager midway. Nothing. we just have to keep him and see how it's going, and then evaluate. See how it goes. That's what I think. But Allegri might be the way to go. He has Champions experience, obviously. Pioli, I don't think he does. Does he? Has he managed in the Champions League?
No, I don't think so. I think he was in charge of Inter and just missed the UCL spot, I think. Not sure, but I don't think it does. If it does, not that much, not remarkable at all.
Yeah, not as much as Allegri. So I think Allegri, might be the way to go at the end of the season. Matt?
Yeah, I think there's two ways of looking at it, isn't there? There's this idea of if we get top four, he's helped us get our objective. Why should we get rid of him? But then, which I completely understand, and I'm just looking at the table here. Atalanta are beating Napoli 4-2 right now. So that means that unless some worst case scenario, we're going to be 6 points clear in the Champions League spaces with 15 games left. I think the idea of like trying to think about these things now, like, is only going to bring more insecurity to the team. I don't think we should be really like properly considering these things until the end of the season, because if we get Champions League again, Pioli's done an incredible job, and there's the idea of, we need to keep him. He's done his job. He's reached our objective. Why should we get rid of him? But then there's the other side, as quite a few of you have said. It's the idea of, I look at Liverpool. What I think why Liverpool are struggling now is they've got this, not with a manager, their manager's fine, definitely, but with their players, they were at this point where they were really attractive. So they won the Champions League. The next year they won the Premier League. They play at one of like the best stadiums in the world to play at as a player, with some of the best fans at a home game, and they signed players like Minamino and Tsimikas, and it's like, I don't want to see that in Milan, if that makes sense. I don't want to see us get this top four position and being a really attractive club, because I think that's when we've looked at, I remember when Montella got sacked, we were looking at Ancelotti, and he just didn't want anything to do with us, because we were like, don't touch it, you'll ruin your reputation, don't go anywhere near Milan. So there's the idea of keeping Pioli, he deserves to stay, but then there's also the point of, if we're a really attractive Champions League club with good players, good young players, Tonali, Donnarumma, Teo, we need to capitalise on that. And then there's the debate, there's the argument that, as harsh as it is and as cruel as it is, if Allegri is like, oh, I like the look of that now, I didn't want to come a few years ago because they were Europa League, they're Champions League now, I feel as if I can do something with them now. There is the debate, and an understandable one, to maybe be harsh and ruthless and say, this is our chance. We don't want to just be a Champions League club for 1 year. We want to get in Champions League every year. We want to be consistent. We don't want to just take part. We're here to take over, sort of thing, in the Champions League. And that's the debate for maybe getting rid of Pioli and getting someone like Allegri in. Yeah.
I think the important thing is, of course, top four this season, but at the same time, you have to remember Montella in his first season, where he did really well, or reasonably well, in his first half of his first season, and then in the second half, the trajectory was going down. It was clearly the team was regressing. It wasn't picking up the best results it could have done, and I think we made a big mistake in that summer in keeping him. We never should have renewed his contract. I think we gave him like some stupidly insane salary at that point. So if Pioli at this point, if he gets top four, I think he will stay. But if the trajectory of the team is going down, if we go from being first at the end of the first round of fixtures, we're going from winter champions to fourth, you have to say that it is a digression, and it is a decline. And it depends on whether the management think that with reinforcement in the summer, some serious investment, because until now they've been smart with their signings, but they haven't been necessarily flamboyant. They haven't been flashy. They haven't gone out and bought a big star player since Ibrahimovic, and even then, I don't think anyone would actually expected him to be as influential as he has been. So I think it all really depends on the next sort of few months. I think, as Matt said, you got to wait until the end of the season and review, and he's earned at least that much respect to be able to keep his job until the summer. I don't think it should be even in question right now in terms of sacking him. Justin, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I have to agree with you, because obviously, like we've said in the past, he's clearly overachieving. I mean, for where we are right now, I don't think any of us would have said that we would be in second place. What is it, 4 points behind? I don't think any of us would have said that. So when it comes down to that, I think you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Also, because, I mean, I don't want to make excuses, but this is the COVID season, as they like to call it. So no fans, which who knows if fans would have hurt us more or helped us more. I'm not sure with the pressure regarding pressure and everything. So I'm not sure, but I think we definitely, he earned the benefit of the doubt to review. And obviously, like, we're talking as if the season's over. The season's not even over yet. There's still 15 games left to play. So who even knows what's going to happen? We could finish first. We could finish sixth. And regarding the Champions League, right now, if he doesn't finish in a top 4 spot, I think his coaching license should just be revoked. Because, I mean, for where we are, I mean, it's a bit ridiculous if we don't get top 4 now. And even from where we've been in the past, 8 years, I mean, I'm not comfortable at all. I mean, who knows what can happen? We're on a complete trajectory going down as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah.
I just wanted to.
Great point, Justin.
I just wanted to. Sorry,
Rick,
go on. I was going to move on to something else. Do you want to say something before we move
on? No, go ahead. I was just going to mention Perino's question.
Oh no, I just wanted to bring up the Mandzukic. He's injured for the second time since he's been here. Obviously, he was a low cost, high risk move from management. Got number 9. Hasn't really had any sort of impact except elbowing people during the match. So what's everyone's thoughts? Is he finished?
My thoughts are Mandzukic has more injuries than goals for us.
Yeah, literally. So what do you guys think? Is he finished? Because I think his contract is, if we get UCL, he will automatically get renewed. So what's everyone's thought on Mandzukic? Because so far he's been much more underwhelming than I was expecting.
Personally, I was very excited with the Mandzukic signing just because of his build as a player, his profile, everything. Right now, I think he's played a total of 80 minutes, not even a full game yet. So I think it's very early, and he was playing in, I believe it was Saudi Arabia. So I'm not.
Yeah, play for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So I don't think we should really be jumping to conclusions right now. I mean, like you said, it's low cost. I think personally, I would prefer, especially Mandzukic, but anybody other than Samu and Colombo, who's our backup striker now, other than Mandzukic, obviously. So when you look at it like that, I think the Mandzukic signing was good. I think it's going to take him a bit to get into the rhythm, but I think he'll come good.
I think that this deal is we'll know more by the end of the season. As Justin said, he's not even played a full game's worth of minutes yet. I think Mandzukic is that kind of player who he could do nothing all season, and then he could get that, I don't know, title-winning goal on the last day or Champions League securing goal on the last couple games of the season. I think it's someone that we're not going to know. He's been here about a month, less than a month. We're not going to see him now, as you said, just come back from playing in Saudi Arabia. It's not going to be, we're not going to know now it's a good signing, it's a bad signing. At the moment, it doesn't seem as though it's working out. But again, I don't think the management brought him in as immediate impact. He's going to be our number 1 striker. He's going to be getting a goal a game sort of thing. He's going to be that guy who progressively through the season will start playing more of a part in the games, especially if we progress in Europe, which we should. He'll start to get more minutes, more starts, more games, and hopefully, more goals. So as Justin said, it would be a bit harsh to completely write him off or judge him straight away.
I think he's only made that 1 start in the Europa League. I mean, he wasn't great in that game, but I mean, he wasn't terrible either. And it's really too early to judge him for what he's done so far. I think that as the season comes on, he will get his chances. Ibrahimovic is not going to be able to play every game as the season goes on. If we continue in the Europa League, he's definitely going to get more minutes. So he's got plenty of time to prove himself. And I think he will. I think he will turn into a good signing. But it really just sort of depends on how he recovers. If he continues in this sort of fashion of him getting injuries and going out, then it's going to look going to look bad for him. But yeah, at the moment it's too early to judge, and I think it's like Pioli, we've got to review at the end of the season.
Like Joe said, I think it's way too early to judge. He only played like one full game. I think we have to see him play more games to really see how is he. But I think I would prefer Mandzukic over him than Samu, honestly. So I think it still needs time. I want to see him more and more. Hopefully, he starts again, again like in Europa this week. I think with time he's gonna improve. Like I can already see his hitting. It's same like last time. It's pretty good. His hitting. Like he had few chances. The Atalanta match when he came on. Even the last match he played, he had good chances to finish it off. I think he needs more time to regain his fitness. Like didn't he play like for 7 months or something? He was fully out of match for like 7 months. So I think it's gonna take more time for him to get back his full fitness. And it's still way too early to judge.
I mean, in his defense, he's only played one game in his position because the way we play, he can't play with Zlatan. It's either him or Zlatan. They can't play together unless we're losing, and then he just brings in for the last 10 minutes just to bombard with crosses. I think whenever Zlatan's on, he's been playing like as a left winger-ish who could just pop on and up with Zlatan. But in his defense, he's only played one game, which is the one against against Red Star, where to be fair, the whole team wasn't playing that well. So in his defense, he was playing out of position. I think we have one more question from Twitter, and then I have just one final question for Justin. Naim, do you want to read that?
Yeah, so actually I had one last thing to add. I think it was Wenmuli Mauri from Twitter. He was saying that the Zlatan Lukaku conundrum, it should be a straight swap between the two. So they should never be on together because they're too similar. So whenever Zlatan's coming off, Mandzukic should be coming on, and they should never be together on the same pitch because we're doing the same thing. So I think I agree with them that if Ibra's coming off, Mandzukic should go on. Same build and all that. But that's it. I think Farino had a question. So it was, where does this result leave us in terms of the top four race and Scudetto ambitions? Justin, do you want to start off?
Sure. I think this result, I think we'll know more after the Roma game other than we will this game, because I feel like I said many times, I feel all of us could have said this result was going to go one way or it was going to take a miracle to go the other way. So, I mean, when you look at it like that, I think we'll know more after the Roma game, I don't know who we play after Roma, but I think it's Red Star, but that doesn't matter for the league. But I think we'll know more after Roma, because right now, I mean, I think Inter are just going to run away with it. Honestly, I really do. I thought that from the moment the season started. They just had it in them. They had the depth. They had everything. I think it was their season, their Scudetto to lose. So when you look at it like that, I think we are 100% still in the top four race. And if right now, sitting today, February 21st, if we do not make top four, I think there's no hope. It will just be completely, I mean, a complete disaster. So when you look at it like that, I think we're 100% still in the top four race.
I think I agree with Justin. I think we are in top four race, which is where we need to be. We don't necessarily need to be first, because that, again, wasn't our goal. I think the only concern in terms of where this leaves us is the confidence of the team. Obviously, we've come, from being first for pretty much the whole first part of the season to losing 4 games in the new year, 2 in a row now in the league. So obviously, in terms of confidence, that's going to obviously hit. There's no hiding to that, because again, especially when it's a derby and then you lose against Spezia, who's a smaller team. So my only concern would be, where's the team's confidence now? If we still have the confidence, yes, we can still play the way we're playing in September, in October, November, where we're just winning every single game pretty much. If there's still that confidence, then there's no reason why we shouldn't make top 4. But if we start losing confidence, and we obviously losing confidence is going to lead us to playing like the way we played against Spezia, which was terrible. And it just, at this point, I think it's all about the confidence. We do have the players, the skills, the management. We have everything needed to make a top 4. It's just all about the confidence and how well every player believes they can do. Because we can do it. It's just about, you've lost. Okay, back to the training ground, and we go again, and we need to get back to winning ways.
I'd like to just say one more thing about the top 4. I think a lot of our fans, including myself, were on cloud 9. I mean, not losing in 30 games. I think we all got a little bit too ahead of ourselves. And I mean, the losses were going to come. It's just, you have to be realistic when it comes down to it. It's a long season. Not everybody's we're not going to go undefeated. I mean, anybody could have told you that. So I think when you look at it that way, it was very unrealistic to think that we were just going to stay on top every week. There was going to be a dip in form. It was just almost guaranteed.
Joe, your thoughts on where this leaves us?
Yeah, I mean, I think this game going into Inter are in their best form of the season so far. They're in their best shape, and I think we are the complete antithesis of that. We're in our worst shape, we're in our worst period, and we're at a point where we really need to sort of turn it around. We need a big result, and there's no better opportunity to do that than next weekend when we play Roma. And I've got to say, after those refereeing decisions in the last Roma game, I want nothing more than to see us beat them like 16-0. I want to see like Fonseca crying blood at the end of that game. It's gonna be like, yeah.
If Fonseca goes missing, you're gonna be the first one on the list now.
Yeah. Okay. On the record, yeah, Fonseca. Yeah. Yeah. Please don't kill me.
Matt, your thoughts on that? Not on Joe killing Fonseca in the top 4 race.
Yeah, I'll remove myself from Joe's shenanigans. Yeah, I agree with Justin, to be fair. The Roma game is like, we shouldn't be measuring our season on Inter. Like I said, they're way ahead in there.
That's usually what Inter does.
Yeah. But we shouldn't compare ourselves to them. Like I think this result just kind of shows like that we are a bit far behind. I said on the first episode of the podcast, I've said it for ages, that this isn't our title race season, this is our top 4 season. And like Justin said, the Roma result is result game is what's going to show us where we are. Roma are a team who aren't fighting for the title either, realistically. And if we lose 3-0 to them, that's when we need to start worrying about like top 4 and stuff like that. This result isn't the one that says, yeah, you're not getting top 4. The Roma one, if we get battered there or don't win there, that's when we maybe have to start worrying. But I think 6 points clear in the when everyone's played their games in hand, and that's 6 points clear in the Champions League spaces with 15 games left. It's a very, very strong position to be in, and I think it's one that we can take confidence from, and we need to show the mentality that we've lacked in previous years. We're here, we're staying here, and like you said already, it's about confidence. If we lose another game and another, or drop more points, that's when it's going to start go downhill. But I think, yeah, if we get a big result against Roma, and just get another win after that, and just keep building from there and carry on where we finished with a couple bad results in the last few weeks, and carry on our 2020 form rather than our 2021 form. And I think we should be good for top 4 over the course of the season. But I personally don't think we're in that much of a title race anymore now.
I think it was Paolo Maldini who said in September that start of the season our goal is to be 5th or 6th. We have massively overachieved to be at the top for so long. Are we going to drop off the race? Anything could happen. It's football like that, you guys know. It's Inter's title to lose, so I think, like Justin said, they're going to go off with because they're on a good run of form. They beat Lazio. They beat us. After that Juve result, things changed for them. I think something happened to that group, and they've just been getting good results at the end. So we're overachieving, but I think if we drop out of top 4, it's a disgrace because we're 6 points clear, like Matt said too. So the Roma result will determine if we finish top 4 or whatnot. So anything can happen in football. Like, we can finish first, we can just finish 6th, like Justin said. But if dropping out of top 4, that would leave us all gutted. We'd be really, really disappointed. That's what I think. But I think at the end of the day, we will finish top 4, whether it be 3rd, whether it be 4th. We have that little point cushion there. over Juve, over Atalanta, over Napoli. We just need good results, and that's on Pioli to determine that.
Yeah, go on, Samir.
I think it's still way too soon to say. We still have, like Justin said, 15 games to play. Anything can happen. We can finish first, or we can end up 7th or 6th. But I feel if we can beat Roma and keep on like beating the smaller teams, we will finish top 4, no doubt. But if you lose to Roma, I think it's gonna go all downhill from there, honestly. Because like none of us really expected us to win against Inter. But if we can't win against Roma, I think it's gonna be a big problem for the squad's mentality. So I believe if we beat Roma, we're gonna finish top 4. Like beat Roma, then start beating the smaller team and get back to the form, and then hopefully we finish top 4. And if we by end of the season, if we're like 5th, I'm gonna kill myself. Like
It's gotten to that
I don't
point.
like I don't think it's gonna happen. It's gonna go to that point. But if it does, oh my fucking god! Like I don't know. Like I think everyone has to resign if that happens.
Yeah.
Like
I think the
literally
podcast
club-
has gotten extremely violent now. That's partially my fault. But
So to sum up, Joe's gonna kill Fonseca, Samir's gonna kill himself. It's going well. Well, please don't do that, Samir and Joe. Before we wrap up, I just have one question for Justin, and Naim can chip in into that as well. I just wanted to ask about the experience of football in the US, because obviously I think, when you think of football, you think usually more of Europe, UCL, European teams. And I don't feel, I wouldn't say football is the prevalent sport in the US. So just wanted to ask, how's the experience there? Is UCL something that's even considered there? Just, how is it over there in terms of football?
I'd have to say it's a bit difficult because when, like me, I'm obviously a Milan fan, so I'm not supporting Barca, I'm not supporting Madrid, United. You go around, you ask anybody, you watch football? Oh yeah, we watch American football. No, you watch European football. Not, you know what I mean? Like it's not. And then when they do that, they say, "Oh, Barca, Madrid." It's not really real fans, but when you do find the real fans, it's important because it means something. And there is a lot of us, but there's few. There's also few compared to Europe, so it's difficult. But it's definitely growing for sure. From when I was a kid, I mean, I didn't hear anything about it. Now, I mean, you look on Instagram, BR, everybody, Bleacher Report, everybody, they're all reporting about football. So it's definitely growing. And I mean, in terms of actual players coming out of the US, I mean, clearly the talents, it's like it's never seen before. I mean, you have almost, I think, 60 players registered in Champions League or something for the US. I mean, it's definitely growing, but it's slowly but surely we'll get there. But right now it takes time. So
yeah, there's like a record number of US players in the Champions League knockout stages this season. So that's actually quite impressive of how it's growing. We're definitely a minority. People like baseball in Justin's area probably. For me, it's hockey. They love hockey here. So when you do find like another Milan fan, it's something to cherish because, wow, you support Milan. They've been asked for the past few years and you supported them. Mm-hmm. You actually, like Justin said, they support Manchester United, Chelsea, Manchester City, PSG, like these mainstream teams. But you don't find the Lazio fan. Liverpool too, exactly. But it's a minority for sure. So it was weird being a football fan. So like there's only a small concentration of us. So like those relationships that you have with your friends, like they're meaningful because it's a minor sport that you follow. And when you're watching the same game, it's just special.
All right, sounds sweet. Good. Just before we wrap up, next game coming up. It's the second leg against Red Star back at San Siro. We drew 2-2 the first leg. They scored literally in the last kick of the game, and which was a bit disappointing. But we have those 2 away goals, which is going to be vital in case of a draw. So what's everyone's for? I mean, I personally think Pioli is going to rotate the team a bit. I think it's necessary because the Roma, again, I think any game in the league is much more important than the Europa League game for us. So I think we're probably going to see a similar lineup to what we saw last week. with the likes of Mandzukic and Krunic even starting, which is good because we need the rotation. We need to get players that give them a chance. But obviously, we have also seen they are a team that can, really put us under pressure and try and score 2 goals. I mean, they're not the best team, but they score 2 goals against, so we haven't won the game against them, which clearly shows they have something in them. So, what's everyone's thought on it? The coming up game? Justin, you want to start?
Sure. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. The first game wasn't easy. I mean, even though we were leading for most of the game, I don't think it was a very easy game. I don't think we dominated at all. And that was obviously in Serbia. So coming to San Siro, you would think, I mean, we should get the result. But I don't even think Pioli will rotate that much. I think we're going to play a lot of starters. I think Ibra will play. I think the back four will probably be relatively the same, even though it probably shouldn't. But I think we're going to go for it. I mean, if you look around, a lot of people are saying that we should just crash out. But the Europa League is money also. You got to play for the competitions. I mean, you can't just crash out. The Coppa Italia is one thing because, I mean, whatever, but Europa League is a prestigious trophy. So I think we'll go to play, and I think we should come home with the win.
And we can't lose against Red Star, like even on an image, on the face value. If someone's looking, AC Milan lost against Red Star, that's just terrible. So we just can't afford to lose. Naim, do you wanna give your view?
Yeah, so I think it's a prequel. If you look at it, we might play Champions League actually. So we'll be playing games on Tuesday, Wednesday. So our squad has to be, they have to focus on rotating these games. Pioli has to learn as a manager that he can't keep playing the same team and exhaust them. I think Theo's been really, really tired over the course of the season. So we have to be rotating properly to get ready for Champions League. We can't just crash out of Europe. And remember what Sarri did. So Sarri, he went out of Coppa, he went out of Europe only to focus on the Scudetto, and then he didn't even win that in the end. That was quite funny to me. So we can't do something like that. We have to win. We're Milan. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. We have to focus on winning everything. I don't care if it's Europe, but it's a trophy. We haven't won a major trophy in so long. We need a trophy. So Milan fans saying that we should crash out. No, man, it's a trophy. And it also guarantees us Champions League if you look at it that way. I just want silverware. That's what I think on Europa League.
Joe, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the fact that we're still in the Europa League, and I think if you look at the other teams that are in the competition, the other big contenders, and what have you got? You've got Man United, Tottenham, I think probably Ajax as well are probably up there with favourites. And then you'd have to say we're probably, if you look at the teams on paper, we'd probably say we've got a decent chance of going far in the competition. And, if you ask anyone in the senior management at Milan, they'll probably say that they'd rather see us win a European trophy, like even if it's just the Europa League, than the Scudetto, because it's brand exposure. It's the sort of, it's what the club, the organisation wants. So, they're definitely going to want us to really do well in that competition. And I think the players as well will want to do something in that competition because, you forget no Italian team has won a European competition since Inter in 2010. And that's shocking. Italian football has been completely underwhelming this last sort of 10 years. So, now that Milan are somewhat serious again, we're going to want to see something a bit better. Inter came close last year, but I think we should really be trying to do our best in that. And as for the Red Star game, I think from that game, the thing I picked out was that Red Star Belgrade are all over the place defensively. So if we go out, as we did in like the first 15 minutes of the second half against Inter, if we play like that, I think we can easily win like 3-4-0. But if we're timid and tense as we have been, overthinking things, trying to pick our moments too much, it could come back to bite us. So we really should be trying to push on. And if we are going to go out of this competition, we need to be going out to one of the big teams. we can't be embarrassed and just we didn't try hard enough. That's not acceptable for Milan. I mean, it was like Olympiacos that put us out a couple of years ago, and I think that was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life as a Milan fan. Because it was not because we were shit or anything; it was just because we didn't give a shit. So I want us to go out because we gave a shit and we were outplayed, not because we couldn't be bothered playing, trying hard. So yeah, Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Did something happen? Is Joe talking or something?
I think Matt, he said Olympiacos and you got frozen on the spot. He brought back some trauma for you, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my computer's gone a bit laggy. Something weird happened there. But yeah, I think that a couple of weeks ago when we did that podcast reviewing the Crotone match, there was perhaps admittedly a degree of arrogance from us because we were like, oh, we're in this title race and we're maybe too good for the Europa League. Let's throw it away, sort of thing. And I think now we're kind of like, we've had the Spezia loss, we've had the Inter loss. It's kind of like, oh, okay, we're 6 points. We're only 6 points clear in the Champions League spaces now. It's not looking as secure as before. And we were kind of like, we won't look at, before we were looking at like, oh, Leicester in there, Man United are in there, Tottenham are in there. Let's like just get out of that. Let's not waste our time a bit. Whereas now we're kind of looking at it like we need that sort of security net, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think that regarding Red Star, we should win. We can afford a 1-1 draw. I think with those 2 away goals were vital. I think they've really given us a good like leeway in our performance. How good we need to play. So yeah, I think we'll get through versus Red Star. But I think overall we need to not have the attitude of let's leave the Europa League. We don't want anything to do with it. Let's wash our hands of it. I think we now need to be like, okay, let's not rotate too much. Let's not go too far in rotating. Let's keep it there as a backup in case things do start to go wrong in the league, of which there's every possibility if we're honest.
Samir, your thoughts on the coming up game?
I think we should take the Europa seriously because 2 things. 1, exposure, and the second thing, money. We could really use the money for like buying the loanee guys that we got, and also the exposure would be better, honestly. And like Rob said, if we are crashing down from top 4 race, if we won the Europa, it's an one-way ticket to UCL. And as far for the match, I think we should go with the team B team. I think we can do it with team B if we have better intensity, like we showed today on the second half. If we play like last time we did against them, I think it's gonna be a loss for us because last time we really played bad. We scored a penalty and an own goal. So I think if we have a better intensity, we can win it. Like my prediction is winning it by 2-1.
I just had a question for Justin while he's still here. Who do you think we should redeem out of Tomori, Dalot, Tonali's? That I think Tonali's already being redeemed, and some of our other loanees that we have right now.
Well, to start, I think it's hard to even say Tomori's earned it, but he looks like a player that would earn his loan fee. So as far as Dalot goes, I'm not sure. For me, he's looked better on the left than he has on the right. So if we're gonna bring him in to cover on the left, I don't know. What was his feet? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
He's right-footed. He's right-footed.
No. His
25.
Oh,
25
his feet.
to 28.
Sorry, I thought you said his feet.
No, the fees are 25 to 28. That's not bad.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know if Dalot's worth that. I think Brahim is a player who he's very versatile, so he could be used on the right and as the number 10 on the left. So I think maybe more I would lean towards. I think Tonali's already a Milan player. I think Tonali's 100% done, and so I'm not worried about him. But I think so far, Tomori and Brahim, for me, has been the 2 who I'd say, okay, they look like players that could play for Milan. Dalot, not so much. What do you guys think?
Points. I think some of us say the same thing about Dalot. It's a bit too steep to be redeemed at that price point. course, Tonali is already being redeemed, and Tomori and Brahim, definitely. Right, you covered that in the previous episode. You guys can go listen to that.
Good plug. Just before we wrap up, Atalanta Napoli obviously just played, and Osimhen left the stadium in the ambulance because he lost his senses. So hopefully he's okay. Just got notification, which is a scary thing to think about. So hopefully he's okay. But yeah, Matt, you wanna wrap it up?
Yeah, so thanks for watching, everyone. I think we've got a lot of things covered, a nice review, a little preview, and even started talking about football in North America, and got a lot of stuff done. So been joined by Red.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Samir.
Guys, do not kill yourself. I was joking. Say no to suicidal or something.
We don't promote violence or anything along those lines.
Yeah, and say no to violence, no to racism, no to suicide. Unless Milan drops from top 4, then you should. I'm just kidding. See you guys.
Yeah, been joined by Naim as well.
Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate the support. Hopefully we win against Roma.
Yeah, and been joined by Joe as well, of course.
I just want to make it clear that I wish nothing but safety and security to Fonseca and his family. Just to be clear. Nice one, guys.
Just before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you for Justin for coming on. We really enjoyed the time. We'll leave all of his social handle in the YouTube description. Definitely give him a follow. He's a great guy, great opinions, just a great lad. So thank you, Justin, for being here.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, man, thank you, man.
You guys for having me. It was great. It was awesome. Definitely want to do it again if I'm welcome.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah. We'd love to have you on sometime.
Yeah.
Cool. So, really good episode. Thanks for coming on, Justin. And thanks for everyone, as usual, for turning up. And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.